And good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, if you will, if you're on the East Coast. I appreciate you wherever you're watching on the Jeff Meacham Network, on Facebook, on Twitter. We're on Twitter for real now, not just Periscope. We're actually on Twitter proper, which is new. Very cool for that. And of course, on YouTube at Jeff Meacham. So thank you all for watching. I am Jeff Meacham. This was supposed to be a couple different things today. We originally, of course, had our buddy Alexander the Red scheduled for today. As I mentioned in my post, she uh, got herself a little boo boo out at the Magic at our own Magic Kingdom, not the one in Florida, but the one here in Anaheim the other day. So she is currently on rest, and we wish her a speedy recovery, of course. And then I'm supposed to have the man behind the mayhem of "You Can't Kill the Boogeyman." And that looks like shit with the green screen the way it is, but Dylan Crow was supposed to be on today. Unfortunately, we had a scheduling snafu, so you've got me and only me. You guys are stuck with me today for the duration of the day. Again, ask me whatever you want. Feel free to chime in. I'm gonna go ahead and cover what I was originally gonna cover over the course of the week on Talk Wrestling, on Sapboy Sports Bar, and yesterday during my part of the Great Cherry Show, which again fell through. All the shows this week just kind of had a rough go. I just was very mentally ill feeling Monday, so didn't feel like going on the air. Mikey's show again, this in this house like just drives me crazy. And yesterday it was really a matter of my own goof up. Yesterday was trying to be on Greg's show and travel. I meant to catch an earlier train and I ended up missing that train, so I had to wait another whatever it was 2 hours almost. So by the time I actually got off the train at the Myers house, it was well into the second half of the Great Cherry Show. So thank you to Big G for filling in for me yesterday. I really appreciate that. And yeah, it's been an interesting week around here. Fun week. Unfortunately, you saw at the top we lost Sakota over the weekend. A lot of people have messaged me. They don't remember Ryan. I think that's a shame. He did have a stint in WWE, as you saw, but he was a SoCal boy through and through. He was born and raised out here. He went through UPW. He went through the EWF, Jester Ennis's company, and he was actually briefly on an episode of XMV back in 2004 when the trio, the three of us, went up to Las Vegas to celebrate the anniversary of the audio show's premiere, which had been 2 years prior. And we were interviewing him at a slot machine, and we were very unceremoniously removed from the casino for daring to film. So, but Ryan was a great guy, just a hell of a wrestler. I don't think got near enough credit. He was part of that. The thing he was briefly part of was he and the man who would become Jimmy Wang Yang, and that Tajiri was the leader of this the trio, and didn't get to see a whole lot of Sakota. Tajiri, was there for a while. Of course, Jimmy Yang went on to do the cowboy thing for a while, so we saw more of him. But Sakota just kind of fell through the cracks, and it was unfortunate because he was a great talent and just a wonderful human being. So I will definitely keep his family in my thoughts, and I send condolences to everybody who knew Ryan. I know a lot of people that I know and love were friends with Ryan. You talk about, I saw the, excuse me, just 1 second. I saw the post from people like Rick Knox and everybody that a lot of people in AEW ever came from PWG, which came out of the various indies here in SoCal. So a lot of people you see on Wednesdays and Fridays definitely knew Sakota, and they had their week of paying tribute to Brody on their show because it was Brody's birthday. So difficult week, I'll say, but interesting one. I got to go to a film rap party for the first time in my life, which I've never done before in my life. And I mentioned the Boogeyman film, and that entire crew, Dylan, his wife, the entire crew, cast, everybody have been very welcoming to me. I've tried my best to promote them as best I could on this channel, and on subsequent appearances to try to get the word out. I do know that the target date for the premiere was supposed to be tomorrow, October 1st, and then was relayed to us yesterday. throughout the course of the social media and at the party that has now been pushed back. However, the official full-length trailer will premiere tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. You've seen the teaser here on this show and all my other shows with a little bit of music edits so I don't get the Carpenter cops on me. But I look forward to seeing how it turns out. I was supposed to be a part of it at one point, and that unfortunately didn't happen because the kiddo got super sick, so I had to stay home. But I was telling my buddy Rob on the way home yesterday that it's so funny to me that little over 3 years ago, you wouldn't even see me near a horror movie or anything of the like. And now, God, I can't get enough Michael Myers stuff. I'll tell you what, he's sitting right here on my desk, every day. He's sitting there just, staring at me. Ugh. So, this guy is a mess. I need to get him rehauled for sure. Anyway, so that is coming up soon. When we have him back on, we'll talk about why the movie was pushed back, why the trailer was released instead, and what is to come from Dark Crown Films. That'll be when Dylan is on. As far as coming up on this show, I do have a penciled in interview with our buddy Sarah Priebus next week at 7 o'clock. I haven't heard back for confirmation, hoping that we hear back from her soon. I know she's busier than hell. She's got about 1 million different projects in the irons in the fire, as it were, as my grandmother would say. So I'm not too confident, only because she's got so many things going on, and I just am who I am. I don't, So we'll see how that plays out. I hope to see her. If not, we'll get her back on the channel here soon. In 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. No, that's not right. 7, 14. Yeah, 3 weeks. Our old cosplay buddy, Michael A. Myers, will be on the show. He'll be talking about everything that he's got going on in this spooky season, which is quite a bit. I briefly picked his brain last night about how he got involved in this crazy mess, and we'll definitely do that more in 3 weeks. I look forward to having him on and doing a full deep dive. It'll be cool. And then the following Thursday, October 28th, we'll have our buddy Braden back on to talk about The Haddonfield Nightmare, which premieres on YouTube the following day. So that'll be exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing how that movie plays out as well, because I have been very monetarily invested in this movie as far as the Indiegogo, the account. I've got a couple of Blu-rays going, a couple of I actually have a shirt going, so I actually will have a shirt from each of the fan films, so I'm very excited about that. Speaking of shirts, let me just throw it up back myself on the screen. Hi. This came in the mail today. This is the upgraded Greg Cherry brand Meacham red shirt. Very happy to have this. Excited that I finally get to wear my stuff again. James, if you're watching, your stuff is literally sitting right here in a box. It's just, I haven't had a chance to deviate to the post office. I will. I swear, brother. I am so sorry. They're literally, it's going to be the next Renegade before we actually get that stuff out to you. And I do apologize for that. But we will get it out to you. I promise. It's just a matter of the right box, the right packing. I don't want those shirts to get messed up any more than they already have been by just being on my body. So just hang tight. They'll get there. Unfortunately, I apparently ordered the wrong size on this one, which sucks. So if I'm able to do an even exchange for a 3X, because I really want to wear this shirt when I defend the championship again next month, since I am a 2-show champion. 2 in a row, baby. Love it. If I can't get an even exchange, I'll go ahead and give that one to the kiddo, and I'll just buy a new one. And it kind of is what it is, but definitely looking forward to everything that's coming up. Again, you saw the trailers. We've got Dads tomorrow, Hell in a Cell greatness, Halloween party songs, the best of Edge, the best of Undertaker, the best of Pixar, the best of the NWA Champions, which is a big list that has one more addition to it as of NWA 73. Again, our boy Trevor Murdoch, and then Christmas episodes, be it specials or regular episodes that are having to be Christmas themed, like the Brady Bunch Christmas episode in the first season, as opposed to the Brady Bunch Christmas movie in '88. They both qualify, and they'll both be on my list. Tell you that right now. I love those both the pieces. These things are problematic. I think I'm going to do these full time on my shows because I move around too much. But that's on Dad's Rewind, of course. We're getting the best of Halloween Havoc, the best of Survivor Series, the best of Starrcade. And yeah, I mean, the draft starts tomorrow for WWE. Very curious to see how that plays out. Very, very curious to see what happens in the draft with SmackDown and, of course, Monday on Raw. Shane, doing better than I deserve. Tell you that right now, man. It's been, like I said, it's been an interesting week, but I'm back on track. I actually managed to get these to sync up, so if I can get them to just stay freaking put, I'll be able to use them. A lot easier than the big cans and the big mic and the whole thing. So if you guys can hear me, it's all good. We are coming out to cool. March 1st, my birthday. Just saying. I turned the big 3-9. The last road on the mile before 40. So yeah, March 1st is my birthday. March is a good month for us overall here in Casa de Meacham. So come on out and see us. Look forward to it. Give you the tour as opposed to you give me the tour. But of course, you're still driving because I don't drive. But I can give you the navigation skills that are only reserved for me because I'm an awesome navigator. Okay, so yeah, again, Rewind, Dad's. Definitely check out the No DQ review tonight. I know they're covering. Let me just see. I'll tell you exactly what they're covering because I can't. Because I'm on the email list. All right. So tonight on the review, they're going to cover the Balor versus Reigns match ending Extreme Rules, and the question of if Roman's going to make it past Crown Jewel as champion. Is Bianca Belair buried? Which I hate that friggin' term so much. What's next for the SmackDown Women's Championship? Sasha versus Becky versus Belair? That's a question on everybody's mind. The AEW Championship roundup. Who should the next champions be? Current ones, of course, are Kenny Omega, Sammy Guevara, who won last night. Congrats, Sammy. The Lucha Bros and Lucha Brothers and Britt Baker. So again, those are your champions in AEW, and of course, you have the FTW champion Ricky Starks, who however you want to go with that. And what would you like to see in this year's draft roster shakeup? Who goes where? That's coming up at the top of the next hour over on NoDQ.com. So check them out for everybody's opinion on that. I'd like to be a part of it, but I was not asked, so I'm not going to. Yeah, the draft. I mean, people have kind of crapped on the draft in recent years, and it's not really like it was when Vince McMahon and Ric Flair stood up there at the podium and literally divided the company in half, because now everybody's just kind of bouncing around doing their own thing. And I get it's kind of hokey. I get it. But it definitely leaves everybody wondering, are we going to see Drew McIntyre come to SmackDown? Are we going to see Alexa Bliss go to SmackDown? Or Charlotte Flair go back to SmackDown? Are we going to see Becky Lynch go to Raw? Or Sasha Banks go to Raw? Are we going to see Roman Reigns or Big E cross shows and take their titles with them to the opposite side of the proverbial line? So I enjoy the draft, and I really do. I don't see a major problem with doing it necessarily. And it occurs to me that I said you guys saw the trailer, and I didn't run the trailers today. I just ran the 10 bell First Dakota, and then went into the intro. So I didn't show you the trailers. So let me go ahead and take a break right now and do one of them right now. Let's do this one. Let's do this one first, because this will be on earlier in the day than the other one. So we'll be back after a word from our buddies at the Cost 18 Studios. that'll be coming up starting tomorrow for our buddy JJ and his Renegades Reviews show, which is always awesome. If you've never seen the movies he reviews before, you really gotta check them out. They're really something. And this one especially, the horror movies. I haven't seen mostly. Again, as I said, I'm not a horror guy by birth, if you will. I was kind of grandfathered into it, if you will. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing most of these movies for the first time, or at least rewatching them. A lot of them, the majority of them, I'm not going to lie, were actually introduced to me because of my rooming with JJ for all the time I did. So, but a lot of the ones that are at the beginning, all the silent films, I am not a silent film guy. I'm not. I enjoy like putting things on in the background and just kind of listening to them and, just catching, but, those things you can't. You have to focus in, and you have to not, be multitasking. And that's the worst thing for me, because when I'm doing stuff like that, I'm trying to get work done. So it'll be a challenge. I look forward to the challenge of watching them and then watching JJ's review. You'll see me on the reviews for October 8th and October 22nd, which is a week from tomorrow and 3 weeks from tomorrow, because they'll be also replayed here on the Jeff Meacham Network. So you'll get the replay of those reviews, which will go up on JJ's channel at 6 o'clock. So again, stay tuned for those coming up in the next month. Good afternoon. How are you? Good to see you. Glad you're watching. Again, kind of a what do you call it? A grab and go show today for as far as the menu, because format totally thrown out. Didn't have any. I had plans for 2 different people, and they both ended up not being able to make it. So I'm just kind of doing my thing here. Just make sure I get myself some FaceTime, get my voice back, because I've been not on the air for a week, and I just need to get the vocal cords going again. Excuse me. So again, that's coming up for JJ. In a few minutes, I'll run the trailer for what's coming up over at on this channel, starting tomorrow for Dads, and then for Wrestling Rewind, which is coming up this Saturday. Which I need to get Greg and I on the horn here to record that. I keep neglecting that. Sure. I mean, why not? I don't know how to. God, let me figure out how to do this. Hang on a second, Reporter Radio. If you can message me on Facebook at Jeff Meacham Network Messenger, I will send you the link to come on in. Why not? Just get open Messenger up then. Right. There we go. So let's see. Again, I'm gonna kind of defer as far as draft talk to the New DQ review coming up at 8 o'clock, because they've got a full panel set up. They're ready to go. I'm literally doing the seat of my pants type thing. So I would like to see some really big shakeups. I'd love to see Drew McIntyre move to SmackDown. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen, because they're going to pace him with Big E, or putting with Big E, I should say. So I don't know. With Big E in the program, so I don't know how that's all going to play out. Drew needs a fresh coat of paint, without question. I think, God, I mean, there's so many people that would benefit greatly from moving shows. Drew definitely could use a fresh change of pace. Shayna Baszler, I mean, it looks like they're finally turning the guns loose on her and actually gonna let her out to play for a little bit, with these attacks on Nia and now on Eva Marie, which I'm all about. Don't get me wrong. Report card. If you send me a message, yes, you're on the right account. Check your messenger box, dude. I'd say Alexa, but it looks like they're going to give her a fresh coat of paint when she comes back anyway. They're going to turn her back into the goddess from what all the reports are saying. So hopefully that is the case. On the SmackDown side, I mean, again, Roman has dominated that brand for an entire year. Other than the upcoming bout with Lesnar, what do you do with him? He's beaten all your main eventers. Put him on Raw. Let him have a chance at the Raw main eventers or build main eventers on Raw, God forbid. It's crazy that he's been champion for over a year. It feels like it has. That time has just completely flown by, and he's taken down everybody in his path. Yeah, I mean, I agree, Shane. I'd like to see a unification just so we have a guaranteed crossover every so often. I mean, I know people, you need to keep it separate or keep it together all the time. It's like, no, you don't. The original intent with the was you had a world champion and a women's champion, and for a while the tag champions went to both shows. That obviously ended up changing because the tag championships became a Raw exclusive, so they created what is now known as the Raw tag titles, but they originally the SmackDown tag titles. Or the lineage is very convoluted, but yeah, I would be okay with one singles world champion and one tag championship team and one women's championship, and then you have the Intercontinental and the United States champions be the perennial number one contenders, where let's say they do like a Lucky 7 type thing, and they get a shot every so often. All right, looks like Reporter Radio has joined me. How are you, sir? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Jeff, what's going on, man? You already know I'm a big time fan for years.
Which I always appreciate you guys coming on and saying that. It makes makes me humble. But yeah, so I've got you here. You're a constant commenter on my channel as well as Aaron's. What do you see happening tomorrow and Monday as far as the draft goes?
Well, I guess from what I was seeing, Sheamus is out of the draft. I wasn't really expecting too much with Sheamus, though, from the draft. I mean, they always do seem to push him in the draft, though, right, Jeff? Were you expecting anything from Sheamus?
I'd like to see a change of scenery, no doubt about it, because his chase of the U.S. Championship has been nauseating to watch. I mean, I've never been really big on Sheamus until the last, I'd say, couple of years or so. Pretty much since his pairing with Cesaro. Prior to that, it was like another one of Triple H's buddies getting way too much of a rub. But he's really proved himself, and I think the constant losses since he lost the U.S. Championship are just hurting him long term. So, how about put him against Nakamura? Put him against put him in that IC title pool, let him and turn him loose and see what happens. But again, I'm not booking the territory. I'm just sitting here in my office, so what do I know, right?
I was about to say the same thing. What could he do over on SmackDown? That sounds good, though. He's already kind of he's lost a few times against the United States champion.
Priest.
Damian
Priest, yeah.
Damian Priest, right? So it's like he lost a few times against Damian Priest, so they might as well move him over to SmackDown. They always like to bring Sheamus into these drafts, but it seems like they're saying his nose injury is going to keep him out. I did notice every time that mask comes off, his nose comes right back open.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how kayfabe that is at this point because he keeps just laying it wide open. So I'm curious. I'd like to see an actual doctor's report. We're never going to see that, obviously, because we don't get that kind of access. But I'd love to know what's really going on because, a nose injury is more impactful than people realize. Whether your nose is, Triple H size or, freaking, Pee Wee Anderson size, doesn't matter. The nose goes through the sinuses and that messes up your entire mechanics. So if your nose is constantly broken or constantly bleeding, you got issues, and you can't be in a ring, 4 or 5 nights a week trying to do what these guys do. It's not going to happen.
So. It seemed like his mask came off a lot easier than anybody else's in past history as well.
True, very true, very true. I don't know where that line is between okay, we're gonna sell this injury like it's Cody Rhodes, and oh shit, he's really messed up. Let's go ahead and take advantage of it and keep him out of the draft. That way, there's more, I guess, anticipation when he does come back. Because I've noticed when they take him off TV for long periods of time and he comes back, the crowd is actually jonesing for him to come back. So maybe they're thinking that they'll get the fans wanting him back and they'll like it no matter what he does when he does come back.
Now, I was gonna say, Jeff, you mentioned when you started liking Sheamus around when he got with the bar. I was actually really liking Sheamus when he was the face. You know, when he was coming out to that theme song. I don't know the name of it. Aaron always used to bring it up, but I like the baby face Sheamus, man. After he had that heel turn where it just didn't seem like he could really beat the top guys, but then he turned face, and how did that end, Jeff? I can't really remember, but how did he lost the championship, the Big Show, right?
That sounds yeah. He was world heavyweight champion if I remember right, and he lost it because I remember he was world champion because he beat Bryan in 12 seconds, whatever it was, 28 seconds,
Yeah.
or the hell it was, some stupid bogus BS. I think he lost it to Big Show, and it kind of just gradually, like, he started to feel like the fans didn't appreciate him being there, so he kind of went off on a tangent. Yeah, remember, he did that, and then he was back and forth quite a bit. It wasn't until he got that ridiculous haircut and the fans were really riding him hard. Then he won Money in the Bank. Then he won the title and was champion for longer than people thought because he was champion from Survivor Series until the week after TLC because of course Roman went on that program with the McMahons, and of course Triple H came back and won the championship from Roman going into the Rumble and WrestleMania. So he's
The
been
infamous 515.
yeah he's been riding that line for quite a bit because the bar never officially turned babyface, but the fans still. I have always loved Cesaro. I go back to watching Claudio, God, back in the early days of XMV that I mentioned earlier on the show, like 2004, 2003. So
Wow.
I am a huge fan of Cesaro, and I know it's cliche to say that because everybody loves Cesaro. It's like, well, yeah, but you guys also, a lot of the people haven't been watching the Indies. They've been watching WWE, and WWE's presentation of Cesaro, not so good. But if you go back and trace his history with Ring of Honor, with PWG, with the Indies, he is an amazing talent, and he is as strong as they tout. He is a strong, solid dude. He is, I still say, for my money, pound for pound, the strongest guy on the roster on either show. So, and it's not that he doesn't have charisma, like Vince famously stated on the Stone Cold podcast, that first one he did with Austin when the network launched, but his English speaking presentation is not as good as some of the guys in the company, which is why he gets downgraded, I guess is the best word I can think of.
He's made
Um,
some embarrassing mistakes.
he has, and it's not. It's unfortunate that even as long as he's been in this country, he still makes that kind of faux pas. So for that to keep happening, is what is ultimately hurting him. I think if they kept the bar together and let Sheamus do the talking, or even put a mouthpiece with him, oh my God, money. You're printing money at that point in tag team division wise. You had a great championship team to carry the roster.
Now, if Sheamus goes to SmackDown in the draft, that'll open him up to a feud with Nakamura and then
Yep.
eventually reuniting with the Bar. So that's some long-term planning for him. Now, Jeff, you were talking right before I got on about Drew McIntyre and where does he go? Um,
Right.
I like the idea of Drew McIntyre versus Big E now that they teased it at the end of Raw. I hate when
Right.
WWE teases something great and then they snatch it right away from us. Like, obviously,
Right.
Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns will carry us through possibly, through Hell in a Cell and TLC. But I think I would rather see Big E and Drew McIntyre right now, Jeff. What do you think?
Well, it's like I said. Ultimately, who does Roman Reigns face after Brock Lesnar? Like, there's nobody on that SmackDown roster, at least not for my money, that could be programmed in with him long term. You've got Brock, who they can carry through Saudi Arabia because he's not on all the time, and he made his point at SummerSlam. He came in on TV and stated his intentions. It's up to Roman and Paul to carry it, and Lord knows they will. But regardless of what happens in Saudi, whether he's champion or not, whether he wins or not, they are Roman Reigns is their long-term booking planning guy. So whatever they do with him, I have to believe, at least with Roman and Paul being a pair, they've got him already mapped out into next year. They've already got TLC and Survivor Series. Hell in a Cell was already this past year, and so don't worry about that necessarily. They did that with Jey Uso, so it's not a must do, which I think was so dumb. They did Hell in a Cell in October, but again, I'm not booking the place. I just
Oh
watch.
yeah. So it's not Hell in a Cell coming up, is it?
No, like I said,
No.
they've got Crown Jewel for sure, Survivor Series for sure, and you got to believe TLC is going to be December. So, will they have a stateside October show? I don't know. They may focus on Takeover. We'll see.
They might give themselves a break.
Which wouldn't be a bad thing, because yes, you have to carry the program longer if Crown Jewel is end of October. That's still 3 weeks, or maybe even 4. I'm pretty sure it's the I think it's the 21st or something. I want to say. I'm not. I don't. The 21st is on my brain anyway, because that's the day of the Jericho Cruise. I'm already zoning on that now because that's 3 weeks away. So very much looking forward to that. But it's sometime toward the end, the last 10 days of the month. So that's still 3 weeks that the Brock program has to be shouldered by Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. So. Again, not a bad thing, because Brock could appear via satellite, or send in a video or whatever, kind of like Goldberg did Monday night for Lashley. And that's the thing, we're getting that match in Saudi Arabia too. So we've got 2 programs that they're gonna be anchored by guys that aren't on TV every week. So Lashley and Roman really have to shoulder that. Now you saw Cedric and Shelton come back to assist Lashley on Monday. Does that mean MVP's almost on the mend and ready to come back? Will he be the one to carry that, be the mouthpiece for Lashley going into the Crown Jewel show? Because Lashley is a tremendous fighter. The guy is a freaking juggernaut. He's an animal. His promos, not so good, even now. So they need an MVP or somebody like that, and none of those guys on that team are the best promo. Shelton is about as close as you can get, because he's got that tenure. He's been there for freaking ever. But they're not going to be the ones that ringside doing the big money sell that MVP will do, that Paul will do, that Bobby Heenan used to do, that Jimmy, those guys. So,
well, Jeff, I think this whole thing with the Hurt Business reuniting it's like a quick fix. You know what I mean?
oh yeah,
I think he's going to turn his back on them probably this coming Monday night, and to look dominant. I think he's going to turn his back on them once again to look dominant going into the match against Goldberg. So wow, more draft talk though. Something nobody has really mentioned. What if they just go ahead and separate Ray and Dominic? You know what I mean? What if they bring Ray back over to Raw, and they let Dominic try to fend for himself on SmackDown, or vice versa?
See, I disagree with that booking. I think if they're going to do anything with the Mysterios, they need to have them against each other, because Sammy planted that bug in his ear last week about, you need to do you and not worry about Dad. You need to do what you feel is right. So that seed has now been planted. We need to let that tree grow into a big redwood and produce fruit. Otherwise, it's useless, completely useless.
Right.
So I would say keep him on the same show for now, be it whatever show they end up being on. I pretty much think everybody would benefit from a change of scenery. But if you're going to give the Mysterios the program on either show, there's no point in moving them at this point. Just, keep them where they be. But the money is definitely the 2 of them one-on-one.
That'll be the biggest feud for the Mysterios since Seth Rollins going against Sami Zayn, I believe. They can really get some story out of that whole thing. Now, I guess a ratings move to get some more ratings over on Raw would to be moving the Edge, not Edge and Rollins, but just Edge. Have they already Rollins and Edge? They're on.
They are supposed to have some sort of thing tomorrow night. Rollins called Edge out last week or 2 weeks ago and heard nothing, and then he came out and ran his mouth some more last Friday. And Edge put out a tweet, said, "See you Friday."
Right.
So Edge will be on the show tomorrow, whether it's like this via satellite, whether it's in the ring. So we are going to get a definitive resolution to this Edge Rollins thing. And I have a feeling if they're both up for it and they both don't, check their moral compass at the door, it'll be in Saudi Arabia, because that I mean, you got to figure that king, whatever else he is, he's a nostalgia guy. You got Edge, you got Lesnar, and you got Goldberg on the same show. His royal dipshitness is happy. He's got 3 nostalgia guys in that one card. He's as happy as a peckerhead. He's good. So that's where I would. Again, I don't know how Adam Copeland. I don't know how Colby. I don't know how Brock or Bill Goldberg or any of those guys feel about doing that show. I know John won't do those shows unless absolutely necessary, because of all the drama over there and all the horrible politics over there. Much like Bryan Danielson wouldn't go over there. He did eventually, I think, at one point. It's a very, very
he went the first
situation.
time, I believe, Jeff, for the 50-man
Yeah.
Royal Rumble.
Yeah, it's a very sticky situation that WWE has over there, because you see those guys in the news all the time. They're not the nicest guys. They're not the best human beings. So for WWE to be in business with them is dangerous, I feel, for WWE. But again, much like the Fox deal, it's not my money.
I mean, look what happened to him last time.
Oh yeah. Like, the thing is, they book these guys who they're familiar with over there, like Goldberg, like The Undertaker, like Kane, like DX, but they're 20 years older than the films they're seeing. So they're not those same guys. So yeah, the entrances are cool. You get the big Undertaker Kane entrance with the gong and the smoke and you get the DX with the green, and then the bell rings. And Shawn Michaels, greatest in-ring performer of our generation, at least mine. But he's not Shawn Michaels anymore. He's Sean Hickenbottom, father of 2, born again Christian. Triple H, multi-time, almost as many world titles as Ric Flair, but he's not Triple H anymore. He's Paul Levesque, who happens to put on the Triple H name when he's on TV. So I think that Edge and Rollins will be different in that case if they do have that match over there. In that, both those guys are still unbelievably in their not prime, but they're definitely still got it for sure. Goldberg and Lashley, I'm pretty confident Bobby can carry Goldberg to a match. We've seen what happened with Goldberg over there. He damn near killed The Undertaker last time, so I don't know how that's a good idea. But again, I think Goldberg, if he's with the right dancing partner, can have a decent showing. Now, Lesnar and Reigns, you've got Reigns, who is in the best program of his life right now, the best run of his career. And you've got Brock, who, all he needs is enough time to get into Brock Lesnar mode. He's good to go. So I don't see a problem with the in-ring stuff being an issue. I just, again, the whole moral implications of that show just makes my head hurt. But other than Crown Jewel, I don't really see any of those programs going beyond that show. And there's no need to. Goldberg has said, I'm going to beat Lashley up. He'll probably do it. Lesnar and Reigns need to resolve whatever's going on, because we don't know still where Paul stands officially. And the Edge Rollins thing.
Do you don't you think they'll what do you think they'll do there? Do you think they're going to do something to keep that going till WrestleMania, or something to keep it going into Royal Rumble? I know they're not going to, I don't think they're going to finish that one there, Jeff. They always do these cheap finishes, like a few years back. Remember the triple threat with Baron Corbin as the referee, I think, or the enforcer?
Something like that. Yeah, again, the Saudi shows are what they call paid shows. They're not going to make anything off the gate. They're not going to make anything off merch. Everything is already laid out. It is what it is, as our shirt says, like Great Trade Brand. So as far as a resolution to that story, no. I see that one going into at least Royal Rumble. The original intent was to have Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania. in Hollywood last year before the pandemic all, screwed everything up. So I can see that happening in Dallas because it'll be another big gate, a big night for WWE, and a big star like The Rock would be beneficial. I've heard minor murmurings of them going till next year's Mania for Rock versus Roman. That's fine, but not as champion. If Roman's champion for a whole other year, the people are going to fart on it so bad. It's going to be so bad.
No
So
one's
if
gonna
they're going
like
to do
that,
anything
Jeff.
from, I'm sorry?
No one's gonna like that. We can't have Roman be champion for another year.
I don't think it's a good idea, only because we don't live in the era of Bruno or Backlund or Hogan or even CM Punk, who was champion. Reigns has eclipsed everybody's reign so far, except for the more recent, like, the Lesnar one, things like that. And, of course, Walter's UK run. As much as the people enjoy the heel turn of Roman Reigns and what it's presented, I don't think they're going to enjoy a long-term situation where he's champion for a whole other year. And honestly, I said this, I think, on Greg Cherry's show last week. They talked about back in 2008 when Punk was world champion and they took the belt off of him at the Scramble so so Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels program could have the title. That program didn't need the world title, nor does this one. You've got the family feud. You've got the bloodline going against the guy who really, etched that blood mark on this company harder and deeper than anybody else. Yeah, you had the Samoans. Yeah, you had, the Tonga Kid and Haku and all those guys. The Rock has been the guy who took the Anawahi family name and just stratosphere with it. So that match does not need the championship. So if they're going to wait till Hollywood next year or the year after next, fine, but not as champion.
Well, Jeff, so if in theory, if The Rock comes back at this year's WrestleMania, he's
Right.
not going to take the title away from Roman Reigns. So in theory, Roman Reigns more than likely will not lose the title until next year's SummerSlam.
Well, and again, to put the comment out there, people are already getting bored with Reigns now. He can be dominant and still lose sometimes. Right. That's a very good point. He doesn't have to win all the time. Did he win Monday night last week and be dominant? Yes, he did. He won 2 matches in one night on Monday Night Raw after
I
not being on
agreed
Raw
with
for over a year.
Sorry, Jeff. I agreed with Aaron though. I would have liked to have seen Big E get a pinfall victory, maybe over Reigns, and that would have made him look really strong. I kind of agree with what Aaron said there.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. It's just a matter of, everything is about timing in wrestling, and Roman losing necessarily isn't bad timing. It is about who he loses to. If he loses to his world champion counterpart, it makes his title, his brand, his WWE look inferior to, ultimately, in storyline eyes, the Goofs, the New Day. So that's where the issue lies, is that this dominant, tribal chief character losing to, the big dancing goof. I mean, I'm not saying Big E is that person because he's very much evolved from that. But in
The
the fans'
big
eyes,
grinding goof.
yeah, which is even worse. And then, for Roman and the Usos and Paul, it's like, that brings them down for storyline purposes. So I get what you're saying, but I also understand why they had Roman be so dominant, because, like it or not, Fox is their bread and butter, and that's on SmackDown, and that's where Roman lives. So anyway, I need to get off of here. I thank you so much, Mikey, for coming in and kind of saving my butt. But
You're the man, Jeff.
it's been, I need to definitely go get dinner going and get ready for Aaron's show. I'm not going to be on, but I enjoy watching the review. Again, that's at the top of the hour, coming up at 8 o'clock over on the No DQ channel. So again, Mike, thank you very much. We will catch you. I'm sure we'll be on next week when we get our schedule back on track here, because it's been a clusterfuck of a week. So thank you for popping in, brother. I appreciate it.
See you next time, Jeff.
Yeah, brother. Take it easy. All right. So that is it for Mike. Thank you again to Mike and everybody for watching today. I'm going to go ahead and just close the show. What the hell? Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching today. I appreciate it. And we will see you tomorrow with dads. And we'll go ahead and run the clip for that right now. And that's it for now. Until tomorrow for Dads Always Wrestling and the rest of the week, I am Jeff Meacham. Have a great night.